Thank you all for joining us today. I see a few familiar names from last week's session as well. So welcome. My name is Helen Berkowitz. I'm a Senior Marketing Manager here at Practitest. Today we're going to go ahead and get started now. Okay. So today's session, as some of you might be familiar with, this is a continuation, part 2 from last week, applying BDD to your test automation, led by the very talented Laveena Ramchandani. Today, we're going to continue last week's session and focus on the advantages, challenges, and practical steps that you can take in your test automation with BDD. Just a few words about Practitest for those who may be unfamiliar. We are one of the leading test management platforms out there. We are working with some of the leading companies and brands in retail, finance, technology, healthcare, government, gaming, and others as well. They are using our technology to completely transform their QA testing efforts from A to Z, to boost efficiency and to centralize all testing on a single platform. Wanted to also let you all know that later today, for those existing Practitest customers, we are going to be having a live training and QA session focused on automation as well, using our platform just a few hours from now. And also wanted to let you all know, starting mid-November, we are coming back to the online test conference. This is our yearly virtual gathering, really focused on the dynamic realm of software testing on a global scale. So you're invited to sign up online and join us for that as well. Without further ado, Laveena, I'm going to make you the host here so you can, sorry, 1 second, so you can go ahead and present.
Perfect. Thank you very much. I'm presenting right now. Is it visible to you? Perfect.
Yep. The floor is yours.
Thank you so much. I'll get started with just the slide. Awesome. Thank you very much, Practitest, for having me. This is my second session, and today we're going to continue from last week. So last week was all about BDD. Today is about BDD with test automation, and the next one's going to be the best practices. So it's just a whole story put together. Last week, we learned all about BDD, the reason to use BDD, and how to use BDD with examples with different tools and frameworks. I had a very interesting question at the end. I think you're online. I think I saw your name and recognized you. You did ask, how can we use but as part of the BDD syntax? Well, you can see the bottom one. You can use given and when, then, and but. So it's one of those where I've never seen it happen in a workplace, but options are there. So if you have like a complicated sort of scenario or edge case or something, and you need a but, like maybe something that helps you achieve something, but make sure that so-and-so person is not allowed to log in, or but they have to have their credentials correct or something. I think that's when you can actually use this. Is like one of those questionable scenarios where you can try and play with it. Otherwise, you can just stick with the given when then. It's much easier, and it just helps that way as well. Okay. So BDD is all about defining your feature files. So obviously the given when then scenarios, all in layman terms, so that not just testers can understand, but business analysts and other domain experts can understand. You then create your code, which is obviously your source file. So it can be done with the help of a developer, or if you are an SDET or tester who's interested in writing code behind your feature file, feel free to do that. And then basically is verifying your results by using a BDD tool that supports a framework, whether that's SpecFlow, Cypress, or any other tool that you might be using. So the main aims are obviously define the business requirement as a test that will fail. So when you are trying to use test automation with BDD, that's one of the important things. Develop applications to pass the test defined by the feature file. revisit the code to ensure the feature requirements are met and that you aren't building something not needed, because that would be a waste. That's why it's very important when it comes to test automation and BDD, you're actually capturing the scenarios that are required and not just adding everything and anything, because that is going to make your tests, your whole tool heavy, costly, and time consuming. You want to wash, rinse, and repeat. So refactoring, avoid any comments or anything extra that is not required. Have hook files, have well-organized feature files, and that should help. And this is where we see the benefit of defining features before writing any code helps to ensure that you are only building what you need. So shifting testing to the left, you can write your feature files before code even exists. So that's the best bit about test automation. Remember, so this is from Cypress. So remember that collaboration is there. So bridge the gap between business and technical people by collaborating on executable specifications. So the Three Amigos session. BDD, learn how to encourage collaboration across roles and work in rapid small iterations to increase feedback and flow. Automation, to accelerate development using BDD specifications that double as automated tests. It should work as a living document. So get your team aligned with living documentation, defining how your software will work. Git integration or any other tool that you're using for CI/CD. Cucumber Studio connects you to source control for BDD documentation that always is up to date. So this is Cucumber, but you can use any other tool as well. And Gherkin, empower everyone in the team to collaborate with their integrated Gherkin editor. So this basically helps both automated test with BDD. So remember, do the things shift right correctly, as well as bring shift left in your workplace, because it's very important that testers are aligned early. Testers are doing a lot of collaboration with business analysts, with developers, making sure that they are choosing the right scenarios and they're not choosing a scenario just for the sake of it to automate. As I said, test automation is a heavy task and it takes up a lot of space, a lot of money, and a lot of time. And we want to make sure that features that are continuously changing, those are not going to be worth to automate, but features that are there for a long time and we trust that they will continue to be the same, or maybe have very, very tiny bit of change in the future, maybe just to upgrade or something, they can be automated successfully. And with the help of developers as well, you can maybe see if you write the feature files, a developer can write the code behind it, or the tester can do it all. But as I say, write your feature files early, discuss these things in your Three Amigos session so that your acceptance criteria for a certain feature is already defined and you're not going into different tangents. So of course, we always work in a waterfall way in the past, or currently as well, or hybrid. So we gather requirements, design, code, test, acceptance, production, maintenance. But as much as we do that correctly, we want to shift testing to the left, as I said. So we want to reduce costs, have higher efficiency, higher quality, and competitive advantage. So if we shift things to the left and we write our feature files earlier, that just helps with everything. And it also helps collaborate with team members as well. So you can showcase your feature file to a business analyst and they can tell you, oh yeah, this is what we want to do for this new feature that we're adding on. No, I think you got it wrong. So it's creating early conversations, early discussions, and avoiding any sort of misunderstandings or elephant in the room. Shift left for BDD automation. So anyone with even the slightest idea of the SDLC can agree that the cost of fixing a bug increases with every step of the process. So this is why requirements are king when it comes to BDD automation. For a process so dependent on testing the behavior of an application, it is imperative to understand that requirements as clearly as possible and convert them into usable test cases. That is why shift left testing approach is highly recommended for BDD automation. Advanced BDD test automation requires closely coupled communication between three major stakeholders, categories popularly known as the Three Amigos, as I just mentioned, and it's vital to clear potential misunderstandings at the very beginning. The key roles that are required for the test automation and BDD or any other framework are the BA. This team has the product owner or business analyst who defines what is the problem to be solved through the product. The development team, so the team that team has developers who provide solutions for the problem in question. And the testing team, these are the testers who find bugs in the product and verify whether it works as expected and identify the edge cases that can lead to product failure. So write your scenarios optimally for test automation. Why? Because once these requirements have clearly been understood, it is time to turn them into test scenarios. In BDD, test scenarios are written in Gherkin language, as we learned last time, which use given, when, then, and then, but as well, if you like. However, since these scenarios are written in plain English, they may sometimes become too convoluted and too lengthy for the use of easy conversion to automation test cases. That's why I say write simple tests, but the tests that cover a lot of things, basically. And write tests that are universal, that can be reused so much, rather than writing new scenarios per feature again and again and again. That is also a hefty task, and it makes it very costly and time-consuming. So let's have a little example here to improve writing your tests. So you can see on the left, the scenario is, as an existing user, I want to log in successfully. So that's your acceptance criteria. And what we've written down here is, given the user is on the home page, when the user clicks the login link on the home page, and the user can see the login screen, and the user enters the username and password, and the user is able to click the login button, then the user is logged in successfully and the successful login message is displayed. There's a far better way to do this. So you put it all in one place, nice and simple. So you have your acceptance criteria at the top. So given the user is on the home page, when the user navigates to the login page and the user enters the username and password, then the successful login message is displayed. So this is a way of writing your test automation with BDD beautifully. Another thing that we should always bear in mind is use platforms that allow framework collaboration. So open source or conversations that can help you become better at what you're doing. Popular automation test frameworks like Selenium or Cypress are preferred in many companies, but there can be other options as well to help. BDD test frameworks like Cucumber adds value to these by allowing a greater collaboration between technical and non-technical stakeholders. This can be especially beneficial in user acceptance testing, which has test scenarios driven by user behavior. And it is recommended to run Cucumber Selenium test on real browsers and devices as well. Make your test cases more modular and reusable. Automation tests are often used for repetitive tasks, especially when it comes to regression testing. So it is important to make the cases as modular and reusable as possible. For example, given user navigates to the shopping cart can be common step, and we need can be a common step that we need in every scenario. So this is something that you can use in 10 different scenarios. So keep it modular. Also, it prevents confusion due to different letter casing if we try to use it again and again manually. And yeah, given click on sign in link on the home page, and given click on sign in link on the home page. That's just double the job when you can just have one and use it again and again. Boost the power of BDD test automation with parallelization. Make sure that tests can run in parallel, not one after the other, because that is time consuming and very, very powerful and costly. So try and run them in parallel if possible. Tools like Cypress and BrowserStack also allow Cucumber-based espresso tests to run in parallel or sequentially. And by default, the test suite contents are executed in sequence, but these can be further split into different groups called shards for parallel execution. This is especially helpful when there are a large number of automated test cases in a test suite. So we're talking about hundreds, more than 500-600 or even 200 tests. You need something to manage that. And for example, if the test suite has 500 test cases and they take a minute to execute, the sequential test execution time will approximately be 500 minutes. So, however, splitting these into 10 shards of 50 tests each, it will just take 50 minutes, which is perfect, rather than 500 minutes. It's important mapping BDD scenarios with any ALM tool for better automated test coverage, it is always important to ensure that all requirements are mapped to test cases, and this is commonly known as requirements coverage. You want to generate automated test reports from BDD as well, because you want to see what your percentage coverage is and the confidence this gives you. So you can provide this to higher management or make some metrics out of it. The CI/CD pipeline requires rapid feedback cycles in order to correct bugs and other potential issues and get a deployable product ready for production at the earliest. And again, tools like BrowserStack App Automate offers automated test reports as well, and other tools as well provide these things, or dashboards, which can help you. Like Cypress is very good with dashboards. It gives you good information, and you want something that you can play the information with. So you can either showcase it to higher management or showcase it to your manager, and it brings more confidence. BDD test automation also allows significant returns in terms of automation return of investment, and is fashioned in a manner that it's convenient for all stakeholders to understand and stand over. Advanced BDD automation tests can be written with natural language constructs to define behavior of software for given scenarios while meeting demand, accelerated product release, and optimal quality. And testing websites on a real device cloud is only short way of ensuring complete test results accurately as well. So I think I am within my time, and I have completed today the session on test automation with BDD. So I hope you gained enough knowledge. I am open to some questions now, and if there's something that I went pretty fast with, apologies, but now it's question time.
Great. Well, thank you for sharing that. I do have a question coming in about size of teams. It seems that that's about, I'm just reading this. A lot of what you're saying is already sort of a given when it comes to organizations that have a large amount of manpower and resources, but what about smaller teams? So I'm just going to paraphrase this question because it's a little bit long. But basically, if your organization is struggling to transition to BDD because you see the value, but you don't have enough resources, or maybe your engineers don't quite have those skills, even though you want to implement it, what would be your advice to kind of solve that challenge?
Just as we know, bringing any tool in place or any supplier in place sometimes takes time, takes months, maybe even a year. So it's important to know that we can't have something very quickly. So it's completely fine. My suggestion would be, if your company or your team members have never seen BDD or test automation, first of all, you have to start from the coaching side of things. So basically help them understand what this is all about. So present something to them, then have a little mini POC, just a simple hello world will do, just have that in place, and then see if someone is aware of how to do these things, or a developer might have done this previously in their other company that they worked or something, and they can help with that knowledge and help you build this framework and feature files and have a CI run this for specific environments. So it's all about starting from the very basics and basically honing skills of the people in your company or your team, and then running ideas from then onwards. Of course, your team could be of 3 or 4 people or 3 or 4 testers, of course, and you might feel that it might bring a lot of workload on these 3 testers. But with the help of a developer or developers, this could work wonders, because developers are also here to help us. We should collaborate as much as possible. We shouldn't just take everything on top of us as testers. And if we can write the feature files, they can write the code behind it in the source file. So if we can manage to do that, I think that will work wonders. And I've seen this work. And I've been in a very small team where there was 1 lead and 3 or 4 testers with that lead, who basically were showcasing how to do JavaScript for the first ever time. And slowly, it took me 1 year, but slowly, I started learning how to write the source code behind it alone after a year. So I would say it's one of those where you have to play by ear, first of all, introduce by a coaching way, work on your communication skills as well. Try and actually try out different tools. See if some reps can help you from these companies and showcase a small POC to see what's out there and see what budget your company can afford as well, because automation is way too expensive and you want to have the right tool. You want to have it for a long time. You don't want to have something for just a week or a month. You want to keep using this. So it's very, very important you choose things correctly. But more about this, I will share in the next session as well.
Great. I think that medium-sized or larger-sized organizations can benefit from that as well. I think there tends to be a very common, communications gap between the various teams. So definitely that can be applied elsewhere.
Absolutely.
Anyone else on the call have any questions? Please feel free to write them in the chat, raise your hand. And after the call, obviously, we and Laveena as well are open to any questions, any comments. Please feel free to reach out, send them our way.
And please feel free to connect with me as well on social media. I'm on Twitter or X, and I'm on LinkedIn as well. So it would be good to connect with you or have a coffee catch up if you feel free.
Sounds great. Okay. If there are no other questions, I think we'll end in just a moment. And just as a reminder, a recording of this will be going out in the next few days. So watch out, watch your inbox for that. And we will be concluding this mini-series next Wednesday, same time, same channel. Look forward to seeing you there as well. Laveena, thank you so much.
Thanks.
Looking forward to it.
Thank you so much. And I hope you gained enough knowledge today. Thank you.
Bye-bye now.
Bye-bye.